What is up, everybody? It is Bourgeois here, and in this video we are going to be going over some performance and other usage of the Helm synthesizer. This is the last video in the series. Basically, at the end of this video you'll have the knowledge necessary to start creating your own sounds that you can start using in your own projects. To get started, we should talk about the info and mini patch browser. That is this up in the corner over here. The info and patch browser section give you info and global settings and ways to save, export, and browse patches. To talk about the info panel more in depth, which is the Helm logo up in the corner, there is the animate graphics, and when that's enabled, animate graphics will animate the oscilloscope, envelopes, LFOs, and modulation meters to give you real-time feedback. There's also a check for updates, which if that's enabled, the check for updates will see if a new version of Helm is released and will ask you if you want to update. You also have the window size option, which sets how large the Helm window is by a percentage of the default size. Then there's the audio output, which is the standalone mode only, and it allows you to select an audio device where you want to output audio. Then there is the sample rate and buffer size. The sample rate defines how many audio samples are processed per second. The higher this is, the more CPU processing Helm will use. Then there's the buffer size, which defines how large each chunk of data Helm should process at one time. The smaller this is, the less delay Helm has. At very small buffer sizes, Helm CPU usage will increase. Lastly, there is active MIDI inputs, which allows you to select what MIDI inputs you want Helm to receive data from. Next, we'll talk about the patch browser more in depth. I don't have any patches currently loaded. If you did, there are basically a couple different parts here. There is the banks section, the folder section, patches, patch info. There's four basically parts to this. The patch browser lets you browse all available patches and presets. You can click done in the bottom right or click outside of the patch browser to close it. First, going over, we have the bank section, in which the top level folders for all the patches are the banks. You can import banks that have an extension .helm bank. You can export banks and share them with other people. And to browse a bank, you can basically just click on it. The next level deep are the folders. All patches are contained within a folder here. You can select multiple folders to browse within this section. Then you have the patches. The third column contains all of the patches. Select a patch here to load the settings. You can delete the patch by clicking delete patch, and save the patch into another file by clicking save patch as. Lastly, you have the patch info. Patch info shows you data about the patch, like the author, what bank it was from, and the license. Next, we have the volume and oscilloscope. The volume and peak meter works in which the green bars show the current peak value. If your patch reaches past 0 dB, the meter turns an orange-red, and in some DAWs your audio will clip. You can reduce the volume slider below the meter to stop the clipping. Then you have the oscilloscope. The oscilloscope shows the wave data output. You can gather some information by the shape of the wave, but it's mostly there essentially for looks. Next, on the bottom, you have the keyboard response. The performance section has various settings that define how Helm reacts to keyboard presses. We can understand this basically in 7 parts. That is the voices, pitch bend, velocity tracking, virtual keyboard, portamento type, and legato. First is the voices. It's how many concurrent voices Helm can play at one time. Then you have pitch bend, which is how many semitones the pitch bend wheel affects the pitch. Then you have velocity tracking, which is how much the loudness of the voice changes with how hard a key is pressed. At 0%, there is no effect. At positive percent, the harder you hit the key, the louder the note. At negative percent, the softer you hit the key, the louder the note. Then you have the virtual keyboard. You can play this virtual keyboard with the mouse. Left and right arrows will shift the virtual keyboard. Then you have portamento. If the portamento is enabled, this sets how long the pitch slide is from the last note played to the current note. The lower the portamento, the faster the slide. Then you have portamento type, which the portamento type enables a pitch slide between notes. If off, there is no pitch slide. If on, there is always a pitch slide between the last note and the current one. If auto, legato, there is only pitch slide when the last note is still held down. So if the last note was released, there is no pitch slide. Last, you have legato. In the event you play a note and run out of voices, legato defines what happens when you steal a current playing voice. If enabled, only the pitch changes and the voices, envelopes, and LFOs remain where they are. If disabled, the envelopes and LFOs are re-triggered so that they start from the beginning. Last for this video, we have the Arpeggiator, which is at the top corner. The Arpeggiator module will take currently pressed keys and play a repeating pattern based on them. We can understand this in 4 parts, that is frequency, gate, octaves, and pattern. Frequency is how often a note plays in the pattern. Gate is how long each note in the pattern is held down. If the gate is low, the pattern plays like tapping keys, and if the gate is high, the current key is held down until the next note in the pattern plays. Then you have the octaves, which is how many octaves the pattern spreads. And lastly, you have pattern. The pattern specifies the order of the notes played. You have different options, which are up, which are the notes ascending, down, which are the notes descending. Then you have up and down, which is notes ascending then descending, then as played, which is played notes in the order in which they are played, and then you have random, which play random notes from the keys pressed. So that not only covers it for this synth, but also for this series. So I thank you so much for watching this video and this series. I hope you found this helpful. I would like, if you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments below for any other synths that you feel that you would like to see tutorials on. I'm looking for other types of content to make that could be of value to the producer community, specifically more in like free and open source software and synths. So feel free to leave that in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching this video and this series. Stay posted for the next one. I thank you so much for watching. Until next time.